It was a chilly autumn evening in the quiet town of Millville. The last rays of the setting sun cast long shadows over the narrow streets. In the heart of the town stood Tony's Pizzeria, known for serving the best pies in a 100-mile radius. Tom, a young and diligent pizza delivery guy, had just begun his evening shift, ready to navigate the dimly lit streets and deliver piping hot pizzas to the residents of Millville. As the night progressed, the orders kept coming in, one after another. Tom had visited nearly every corner of the town, from the quaint suburban houses to the old Victorian mansions that seemed to loom in the darkness. The final order of the night came through at the stroke of midnight, and it was an unusual one. The address was simply listed as 31 Elm Street, the Old Mill. Tom scratched his head, puzzled by the vague description. He knew Millville like the back of his hand, but the Old Mill wasn't a place he was familiar with. He decided to consult the pizzeria's owner, Tony, before heading out. Tony, a portly man with a graying beard, looked at the address and sighed. "That's a weird one, Tom. Elm Street is just a couple of blocks from here, but there's no mention of an old mill on that street. You might want to give it a shot, maybe it's a new customer." Tom shrugged and grabbed the pizza box, securing it in the front seat of his car. The evening had grown colder, and a heavy fog had settled over Millville, making the streets feel eerily silent. Tom's headlights cut through the mist as he drove toward Elm Street, and he couldn't shake the feeling of unease that had settled in his gut. He reached Elm Street, and sure enough, there was no sign of an old mill. The houses on the street were ordinary suburban homes, all dark and quiet at this late hour. Tom pulled up to number 31, a small, modest house with a well-manicured lawn. It seemed like an unlikely place for an order that included the old mill in the address. Tom sighed and muttered to himself, maybe there's been a mix-up. He grabbed the pizza and soda, intending to leave a note explaining the situation when he heard faint music, like an old-timey tune played on a gramophone, drifting from somewhere nearby. His curiosity got the better of him, and he decided to follow the music. It led him to the backyard of the house, where a rickety wooden fence separated him from an overgrown, neglected garden. The music seemed to be coming from the other side of the fence. Tom hesitated but finally decided to hop over the fence, landing in the unkempt garden with a soft thud. The building was made of red bricks and had a vintage charm that seemed out of place in the modern world. Its neon sign flickered faintly, revealing the name, Tony's Pizzeria. Tom's jaw dropped in astonishment. There was no such pizzeria in Millville, and he had certainly never delivered to it before. He cautiously pushed open the door and entered the pizzeria. The interior was dimly lit by antique chandeliers, and the walls were adorned with black and white photos of people he didn't recognize. The place was empty, except for an elderly man behind the counter. He wore a white apron and had a bushy mustache, giving him the appearance of a classic Italian pizzeria owner. Tom approached the man and said, "I have an order for this address, but I'm not sure if this is the right place." The man smiled warmly and replied in a thick Italian accent, "Ah, you must be the delivery boy. We've been expecting you. Please, come this way." He led Tom to a cozy corner booth, where an elderly couple sat, their eyes fixed on the pizza that was about to be served. The woman had silver hair and a kind smile, while the man appeared stern but nodded in acknowledgement. Tom placed the pizza and soda on the table, all the while feeling a sense of unease that he couldn't quite shake. With that, the couple began to eat, and Tom turned to leave the pizzeria, feeling that his job was done. But as he approached the door, the music stopped abruptly, and the room fell eerily silent. Tom's heart raced as he turned back to see the elderly couple staring at him with hollow eyes, their faces contorted into grotesque smiles. Panicked, Tom rushed to the door, but it wouldn't budge. He tried to open the windows, but they too seemed to be sealed shut. The temperature in the room dropped rapidly, and Tom's breath turned into mist as he exhaled. The elderly couple continued to eat, their eyes never leaving him, and Tom realized with growing horror that the couple's meal consisted not of pizza but of something far more sinister. They were feasting on his fear, his very essence, and there was no escape. Just as he thought all hope was lost, a voice whispered in his ear, "You shouldn't have come here, dearie." It was the elderly woman, her voice now dripping with malice. "We've been waiting for a fresh delivery boy for so long." Tom's vision began to blur as he felt his strength drain away. He collapsed to the floor, his body growing colder and weaker with each passing moment. The elderly couple's laughter filled the room as they fed on his terror, their forms becoming more distorted and ghostly. As Tom's consciousness faded, he realized that he had stumbled into a ghostly trap, a never-ending cycle of pizza deliveries to the cursed pizzeria on Elm Street. He was just another victim of the phantom pizzeria, destined to serve the elderly couple for all eternity. And as the clock struck midnight, the mysterious pizzeria vanished into thin air, leaving behind nothing but a chill in the autumn night air, a chill that would forever haunt the streets of Millville.